Hey everyone, it's Hayes. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a little bit since I've done a Don't Try to Make It in Music segment, and I first want to discuss why that is before we jump into the video today. So if you remember, months back, I did a Don't Try to Make It in Music segment on the age of streaming and what that did to the industry and how it really affected old dogs and they were trying to adjust. I received specific hate from one person in the industry, and it really deterred me from uploading more videos because one, they were invalidating my experiences in the industry. I've been working in the industry since middle school. I guess technically you can't consider it work till high school, but either way, I've been in management, booking, and worked as a techie. I've seen a lot, and I'm sharing my perspectives while including facts, just numbers that are out there. And he didn't even watch my video. He just immediately decided that I am a nobody in the industry and shouldn't have said anything. And then sexist comments were made about kind of buying back my forgiveness because he found out he knew my boyfriend. So just disgusting things like that really deterred me, which is funny because that's the only sexism I really faced in the music industry. The entire time I've been in it, all the people I've worked with have been incredibly professional and nice. It's funny that it's someone who's never worked with me, knows nothing about me except realize they know my boyfriend, is the only one who's been sexist towards me. So that really deterred me from doing these segments. But then I remembered I love doing these, and I think a lot of you like them too. So we're going to get back into it. The video today is going to be specifically on keeping things in-house versus hiring out for like record label, tour manager, agent-esque things, but also still giving you the compare and contrast to see, is it worth hiring out or is it worth keeping it in-house? You know, with the day and age we're in now, a lot of things can be done in-house. You can learn a lot as you go. Social media has really empowered artists. So all those things. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's first talk the nitty-gritty of what all of these pieces of the music industry would do for you. So a booking agent is going to specifically negotiate deals for you in terms of appearances, events, things of that nature. They typically will take between 10 and 15% of whatever deals they make for you. They also will do all the contract writing and everything, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. A record label is going to make sure you are compensated for all of your work. So they deal with distribution, rights, and enforcing those rights. So that's why you get a lot of claims on places like YouTube, because you have record labels on top of that shit. Tour managers, self-explanatory. They're in charge of the tour. They do all of the coordination. They may not have booked the tour. Sometimes I think you have tour manager, booking agents overlap, but tour managers specifically are in charge of keeping you on track, making sure you are at your destinations on time, dealing with all the little things you need while you're on the road. So they're like your home away from home manager. Then you have your manager. They deal with you probably the most regularly of all the people I'm going to mention. They will deal with your day-to-day stuff, making sure you get to and from your appointments. They deal with your overall scheduling, and they're the one you typically have the closest actual relationship with. I also think managers typically wear a lot of hats, just as TMs can wear a lot of hats. So those two pieces are probably the most crucial parts to an artist, in my personal opinion. So now that we covered what those things do, let's discuss what the benefits and negatives are to hiring out. So just as I said, a booking agent will take 10 to 15%. That's a decent amount of a cut. If they have the contacts and resources, though, and you've really looked into them and you've maybe built a rapport with that individual, then yes, it's worth considering. I'm going to say the gist of that for most of these roles, but I would dissuade people from thinking that an agent is your only way. I specifically, when I worked at a booking agency, asked a very prominent agent there who had a very well-known client if he believed that there was loyalty to agents the same way there is to managers. And he told me yes, that he has had a lot of clients for years, and by the time I was going to leave, that client also left, and that was their top client. The reason I'm saying this, though, is because working as a manager and in the booking agent side, I would say that I see way more loyalty to managers. There is much more of a relationship built there typically than with your agent. Your agent is really about getting you deals and negotiating your contracts, and you typically are going to go with who's making you the most money. That's not to say that that doesn't change per artist. Everyone's an individual. That's just been my takeaway with my experience. Obviously, you're, of course, free to tell me how your experiences have been. But that is why, though, I would dissuade from agents unless they really are getting you deals that you're unable to get yourself. But in addition, the main reason I understand hiring for any of these roles and not just having your friends and family learn with you is that they can handle all of this and you don't have to worry about it. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad option for those of you that are further in your careers and just don't have the time to deal with the little details and you need someone else to handle that. Record labels have always been kind of a scary boogeyman to an extent in the industry. I think some get a really bad rap because of the ones that have done poorly. You hear all these horror stories about really bad deals that artists have made. A Day to Remember got out of their really shitty deal. Taking Back Sunday, they both were on the same label that was shitty. NSYNC had one of the worst deals of all time. And the reason I say to be careful with record labels, it doesn't make sense to sign deals with record labels that put you in for more than one album or X amount of songs. I would never, ever recommend signing years or signing over more than one album with a label. You don't know what they're going to do to benefit you. And I think a lot of artists that are new get really starry-eyed at the idea of being signed to a label that they'll take really crappy deals. You shouldn't be making the least out of all the players helping you. You shouldn't be making the least from your art. So just always keep that at the forefront. It's okay to walk away from a deal, especially one that down the line could hurt you if you become very successful. Don't think that you have to take the first opportunity that presents itself. With social media, you really can find that reach and find those people without having so many players. Also, in terms of distribution, a lot of that can be done on your own to a certain extent. While it's different if you're trying to get CDs put into specific stores, if you're just trying to distribute for streaming purposes, you can do it all through DistroKid, which is a fantastic, easy way to get your music out there. They will put it up on all of the major streaming places for you and handle that entire end. You don't have to worry about it. Yes, it costs money, but it's not going to be as much as dealing with a label. So why does doing it in-house make sense? If you pay attention to rap culture and that entire genre, it's a huge thing to be surrounded by your friends and family and to bring them up with you as you rise as an artist. That's the culture, and I think as that's meshed with pop punk in the last couple of years, we're seeing more of that flow into more genres. And that's not to say other genres haven't been doing it, it's just so prominent in rap culture that I think it's important to note. We see artists like The Maine who have also been doing in-house pretty much the entire time they've existed. They have their friends and family running the show, and while that may mean that you grow at a slower pace initially, I think a lot of the benefit is, one, you own your entire company. That is yours and nobody is taking bits and pieces, and when you blink, you realize you only own 15% and everyone else gets the most of your hard work. I also think a lot of people are constantly worried about the concept of hiring your friends and family because if things go wrong, they think these relationships are over. Yes, it takes specific personalities to realize you can or can't work with your friends and family, but I think it's worth looking into, and I think if you go into it with contracts, go into it being able to have the separation of friendship, family, and business, you will be better off. And I do think there are a lot more people out there who are capable of that than we give ourselves credit for. And it'll benefit you in the long run, because who are your biggest supporters? Typically your friends and family. They're going to push and work as hard for you as you work for you. The random person who's getting a decent chunk is going to work hard enough for you for the money, but the passion is lacking. The excitement is lacking. The enthusiasm is not translated over to your audience with everything that those players do. So why am I saying all this? Why am I shitting on all these specific pieces and saying you should do it all in-house when obviously people keep signing these deals, so there has to be a benefit? And there is. I am in no way, shape, and form saying that if you decided for yourself that signing with this record label and working with this agent or this manager is the best thing for you, to not do it. You're going to decide what's best for you. The reason I'm saying these things is there's a lot of correlation in all entertainment fields. And as I've gotten further into streaming, I've seen even more correlation between streaming and the music industry. Nothing's exactly the same, but I've seen it. I've seen the really disgusting side of these industries. I've seen people really in it for themselves. And I just want to caution artists to not jump into these deals before they're ready, to not take the first thing that comes to you and sell your soul, because you'll regret it down the line. Even more so, something I've realized, I actually watched Drew Gordon YouTube channel the other day. It was actually specifically on the D'Amelio sisters and their rise to fame and everything and how they've been struggling and all of that. There was a specific part that I really appreciated, and I think that resonated with me and works for really every entertainment field, but I'm relating it back to music because that's our focus here. When individuals grow too big overnight, they're not ready for it, typically. And that's when you have them rush to get a team around them because it's kind of too late. If you're a small artist, enjoy the growing period. Enjoy the slow, steady milestones because it's actually going to benefit you in the long run. You're going to have thicker skin. You're going to be able to handle the stuff that comes up, and you're learning as you go at a normal pace. You then get the opportunity to do it all on your own. You get the opportunity to decide who is supposed to be in your team and not just take those that are good at their job because you need them. You can have them because you want them and not because you're in a dire situation where you grew too big too fast and you're kind of out of sorts and you don't really know what to do in order to continue your career. So I'd urge you all to think on that. I know this video had a lot less numbers and statistics as our last ones, but I thought this was an important topic, and with a lot of people pushing their socials even more and more, especially artists, as that is a nice avenue to grow some support, I think sometimes we get so hyper-focused on these people that are overnight successes that we forget the benefits to the steady growth and how you can really then decide your fate as an artist and who you want to surround yourself with, because your team does matter. Your team is important. And yes, while you can change it, it's really hard to do so when you're in really shitty deals. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it a lot. I really like doing these segments. I'm going to do a much more research-heavy one for the next one, so don't worry, those are coming back. And I'm excited for this ride. I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, guys. If you like this video, some of my other content, there's some variety there. It could be fun.